Hello and welcome everyone in another episode of Researchers Celebrity. Today we have Dr. CM Santosh Kumar with us as our celebrity, and a brief introduction of Dr. Santosh. He has done his bachelor's and master's in biochemistry from Sri Krishna Dev Rai University, Kurnool. And then for PhD, he joined CDFD India, one of the emeritus institutes, I'll say, which is known for its development in technology in India. And the degree was awarded by Manipal University in biotechnology. Then he moved to Massachusetts for his postdoc to United States, and then due to family reasons, he moved back to India and joined NCCS Pune as a postdoc. And currently, he's a flying faculty and research fellow at University of Birmingham, UK. With this brief introduction, I would like to say thank you so much, Dr. Santosh, for taking time out for this conversation.
Thanks a lot, Rajuji, for making me part of this. Thank you.
We always
Mhm.
start our conversations that how and when you decided that you want to become a researcher.
Oh, thanks for this. So it is. I would credit my teachers who during my plus one, plus two. So they suggested that it's not only medicine. So for anyone doing a biological degree in the plus one, plus two, so the only target remains is that either you go for medicine or sometimes to veterinary, agriculture, and all. But my teacher said you can also get into research and do biochemistry and microbiology, and so develop drugs that the doctors actually prescribe. So that's where I thought, yeah, I mean, why not explore that option? And then I joined biochemistry for my undergrad and did well there, and then did my masters in Krishnadeva University. So I was like one of the toppers in the entrance there. So yeah. So the entrance was very easy for me, and then I did well in the undergrad, postgrad as well. And thankfully, during my post graduation, I applied for this research fellowship from CSIR. So I went through the entrance, cleared the entrance, and joined. So I joined for 1 year. I worked at Institute of Microbial Technology in Chandigarh, IMTech, and then from there I moved to CTFD Hyderabad and did my PhD there.
That's a great
So
start. So
yeah.
when you joined IMTech Chandigarh and
Hmm.
this transition from IMTech Chandigarh to CDFD, if we can
Sure.
talk a little about why that change happened, because you, as you mentioned, you cleared
Hmm.
the entrance exam, and probably you joined IMTech with an intention of doing PhD there.
It's bit of a yes and no. I mean, in MTech, I joined a lab which was more focused on genetics, and it's more of a bacterial phage-based genetics. And then I was not very comfortable, say, because of the environment there. I mean, it's Chandigarh for a South Indian. It's like very chilly place, and for those days, it was very difficult for me to cope up with things there. So then I moved back to Hyderabad and joined Shekhar Mande's group in Hyderabad. And he was very receptive. So he was very, I mean, he encouraged me and I mean also supported me throughout my journey there. So that's where I thought it was a phase where I wanted to go and work for my PhD, but all worked out well where I could transit from Chandigarh to CDFD, and also because people knew Shekhar's work even before that. So because Shekhar worked as in Chandigarh before, so that's how the transition was a bit smooth.
Great. So
Yeah.
one of these major point in these conversations is
Hmm.
this, as you mentioned, that it was environmental factor also one of the
Sure.
reasons why you moved from Chandigarh to CDFD. And for our
Hmm.
young enthusiastic researchers who are either in their PhD or are considering to join a lab in PhD, based on what different things they should, choose a place or a lab according to your experience?
I mean, I would say go by your instincts, whatever so I would say whatever you like to work on. So find a lab that works on that and go to the lab. Environment sometimes plays a role. I mean, environment in the sense the climate plays a role sometimes, but it's, I mean, maybe I was not very much ready for that. But I shouldn't suggest that the labs that are in a different place, different geographical region, should not be conducive for your research. So whatever the subject that you want to work on, whatever the topic that you want to work on, if there is a lab that works on it, and if you can approach the PI for that, and that should be the main motive. So it's a topic more than anything else.
Great.
Yeah,
Yeah, I absolutely agreed. So now
sure.
let's talk about the journey of
Mhm.
PhD in CDFT. How was that?
Sure. Uh, Journey was very good. A bit of a bumpy towards the end because uh, one of the papers that we wanted to publish got scooped. And I hope you understand what the word means. So it was, and then we had to build a lot more to get that published. So we did a lot more research on that. So we got it published, and then I was awarded the PhD after that. So it was overall a very smooth journey. So I mean, you will definitely get some rough patches in the PhD, because so people always, I mean, when I look back now, I feel that, yeah, why was I worried at that time? Because for me, I always consider that PhD is a journey where you are experimenting. So no one else did that experiment before. So whatever the result that you get, whether some people call it negative result, it's not really negative, but it's only a result that shows that your hypothesis was not correct. So whatever the result is that did not match your hypothesis, that people tend to put it as a negative result. But that's not the case. I feel that every result is giving you something. It's only for you to explore it further and understand why it is working that way, so that you can understand the system more in more depth. So I feel the research was good. So we published three papers during my PhD, and yeah, of course, because of those three papers, I was invited for the postdoc at the University of Massachusetts, which is again a very big university. I mean, I'm not boasting about myself, but yeah, definitely, it's a
So
prestigious university.
you said that part of Chandigarh, moving from Chandigarh to Hyderabad, was the
Hmm.
climate, and then you ended up in
Yeah,
University of Massachusetts.
exactly. That's what. So, and I'm at University of Birmingham. It's not a very hot
Mhm.
place.
Yeah.
It's chilly place. Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
it was very early in that life, I think, because early 20s or so,
Mm-hmm.
and never experienced a different climate. So, person coming from Karnool, studying in parts of the Andhra Pradesh mostly. So
Mm-hmm.
not very used to. And then I had I don't know if I can say this and discourage other students, but I had a bit of a health issue when I was
Mm-hmm.
in Chandigarh. So that's also was a concern. Uh, so I thought maybe not a good idea to continue here. And because it was a CSIR fellowship, CSIR junior research
Mm-hmm.
fellowship, which can be transferred across institutes. So the director was also okay. So Amit Ghosh was the director then. He said, if you get a position anywhere else, we are happy to transfer the fellowship. So then
Mm-hmm.
I reached out to CCMB, CTFT, and then I got selected in CTFT and continued there.
Great. So, like with this experience of,
Mhm.
you completed your PhD. Now you have added the prefix doctor in front of your name,
Sure.
and was moving to United States. What were the major, we can say that the key factors you
Hmm.
decided to join Massachusetts instead of, developing something else in India?
Oh, okay. That's an interesting question. So definitely, I thought of joining some companies in India, so that I can translate my research sooner. But then back in those days, we are talking about 10 years ago. Uh, so the infrastructure in terms of the research in the industry was not very well developed. We have likes like Bharat Biotech and all in India right now, and Origin and all. So it was not that well explored those days. So I thought I'll have a bit of more experience in University of Massachusetts. And so the when I was applying for my postdocs or postdoc positions, what I did was I applied to only the positions where the labs are doing the research that I like to do. So I worked during my PhD on protein folding in mycobacteria. So I applied to places where protein folding is studied, and one of the labs was University of Massachusetts. It's Laila Girash's lab. Uh, so I thought I'll explore more on this, and then I'll come back and work on the neurodegenerative diseases and develop medication for Alzheimer's, Parkinson's. So that was the plan. So gain some experience, come back and set up something here. But as I said, so the life had different plans for me. So and my father passed away. So we were in a very good stage to continue the research there. But my father passed away, and being a elder son, so I had to take care of the family. So I came back, and both Laila and Shekhar, they both were very cooperative in facilitating the transition. And when I was coming back, so imagine I finished my PhD, went to the States for 2 years, and so these 2 years I did not collect enough data to publish. So, but if I would have worked for another 2 or 3 years there, I would have had enough data to publish for some good research in top quality journals. But by then I didn't have much to publish, so it was almost like a 2 year lacuna in my career. So I thought I could either take a clerical position, so or administrative position, and go into companies or offices near my hometown, or I can join research. And of course the scientist in me always said, yeah, go for research. And then by then, Shekhar, with whom I did my PhD, moved to NCCS Pune. He became director there. So he was also setting up a lab. So it was like a very good opportunity for me to set up the lab and uh, I mean play with my own career there. So establish my career, rebuild it. So then I moved there, worked for my research, published a review. So because I didn't have data to publish paper, but I have knowledge to write a review. I wrote a review for a Springer, and it fared very well. And Springer invited me to write a book. Okay. So that's how the journey happened. So when I was writing the book, I thought, why I write the entire book? Instead, I can request experts in the field to write each chapter. Okay. So one of the experts was Professor Peter Lunt, who is based in University of Birmingham. So he wrote a chapter, and then we were discussing some ideas with him. So like, yeah, we need to do so. This aspect of chaperones was not explored. This aspect of things were not explored. And then one of the ideas we put up as a proposal for Royal Society, which got funded as a Newton International Fellowship. So that's how the journey started.
So the research in three different continents, starting from India to
Oh
United
yeah,
States and in UK.
and
What
UK, yes.
to our audience, what you can say
Mhm.
based on your experience, which one was the best in terms of work-life balance?
Uh, in terms of work-life balance, I would say UK. Not because I'm here now. But I would say, see, if you put a scale of uh, infrastructure and bureaucracy, you have more of a bureaucracy and personal touch in India, but you have very high amount of infrastructure, research quality uh, in the US. So there are two extremes. But UK, you have good quality of research, not as systematic as in the US. I'm not making a racial comment here, but yeah, it's not as systematic as in the states of and in the US, but it is more conducive and people are more accommodative. So if uh, so you can explore more in the UK than in the US, because I was although the environment was good, it's a bit of a more stress in the US because of the maybe the demand and the people who are working there. So they do top quality research and all. So I would say UK and Europe are more conducive and more balanced than either India or US. And
Great.
India, I hope, does well in the future, hopefully very near future. But
Mhm.
yeah, so for I think for now it is more conducive in the US, in the Europe.
So another point which you
Mhm.
brought up was like about the gap in publication, as you mentioned, for your first
Correct.
postdoc in there. So based on your experience, what you can
Hmm.
suggest the audience that publication versus the skill gain, because you obviously worked for 2 years, that
Hmm.
hard work when you have learned new skills. How do you see this as? But yes, we know that there was no publication out of that work, but the
Sure.
things you have learned there might have helped you in your future.
Definitely, definitely. So the it helped me understand how the system works and what tools we can use to study what you want to study. Uh, Definitely. So for my one of the proposals I'm putting up currently, so I'm using the skills that I developed in University of Massachusetts. So hard work never goes waste.
Mhm.
So it's always comes back. But I would say, I mean, the sad part of the efforts is that you need visibility in the field. So so publications are one way the passports for the academics. So that's that's where you are visible. So I would say, even if you are not able to publish something as a paper or as a research article, uh, try to publish something. If you have a knowledge about the field, if you have new hypothesis, there are different avenues where you can put up the proposals. Like some of the journals, they are happy to publish only the hypothesis. Some of the journals are happy to publish. There are many journals which publish reviews, and there are options for publishing ideas as book chapters. So be visible, and that also helps you to network. That also helps you to develop your own ideas, which you can explore further. So I would say try to be visible in your field.
Absolutely. No, I
Yeah.
think this is a great point where I should
Mhm.
say to all the audience whosoever listening to this conversation that one thing which should be learned from Dr. Santosh in this, that there might be these time periods when you are not publishing, but the skill set you are learning during that time probably is going to help you big way in your long, future. And one other suggestion which Dr. Santosh just made was like, if you are in the field and you know that you do not have enough data at that point of time, what you can do is you can write reviews, contribute to book chapters, so that you have this publication history. Because whenever you are going to take your next step, these things are pretty important. If
Sure.
like, so this is a good way to navigate those gaps where you know that just by reading, and reviews are a great way to learn more and more and stay updated with the field, that what is happening in the current state. A
Correct.
great one. So
Sure.
next one, you did mention
Raju,
about networking. Yes, please.
sorry. I mean, just wanted to mention one more thing, one more caveat I had. So As I mentioned, NCCS, we were setting up a new lab for Shaker's group. We had some difficulties. So one of the key equipment we needed for my research so was not available. So, and it is very important for the research. It's like uh, it's a protein purification system which was not available immediately for us. So we had to get it much later. So what I did was, instead of just staying there and waiting for it, what I did, I understand the system well. So I started learning new bioinformatics tools. So rather than relying only on the wet lab work, I also understood some bioinformatics tools, so that I can study structural dynamics and also its evolutionary dynamics, so uh, molecular dynamics and molecular evolution. So I used these tools, and then the observations I made, I published in three research articles. So it's not that, I'm just saying, I'm not boasting about myself, but I'm trying to say that if there is something not available, always explore the avenues where you can answer the same question using other tools.
Absolutely. And I
Yeah,
think that's what makes you researcher in the first place, that you are
exactly.
not
Exactly.
limited by
By the
anything.
tools,
You
by
always
the tools.
navigate some or the other path to answer your research question. That's a great
Exactly.
advice for
Sure.
all the young researchers who think that they have to have something to perform those experiments or to answer a research question. You should
Exactly.
always be open, and that is one of the things. So now let's talk about the hypothesis. That's, I think, most of the PhD students at
Hmm.
least think it this way. And we have seen that as you mature in research, instead of going forward, it goes backward, that now you're more stuck with your hypothesis. You want
Sure.
things to work certain way, which sometimes happen, most of the time doesn't. So what you have experienced, and then based off your experience, what you can suggest to the researchers.
So, I mean, any research starts with a hypothesis, and hypothesis, don't be bound by it. So that's what I would say. So read your observations. So when you have a hypothesis and you are testing it using your experiments, so I think I mentioned it before. So don't think that anything that is not matching your hypothesis, any observation that's not matching your hypothesis, don't consider it as a negative result. Consider it as an observation that's not matching your hypothesis. So you either you tweak your hypothesis or think that, yeah, this is not the way the nature or system works, but this is a different way we need to think about. Uh, so I'm not getting an example right away, but I did change several places where I thought I would get an observation like this, but when it didn't come through like that, then I always changed. No, no, no. Maybe it is giving us some other indication. So it might not be working this way. So plan a new experiment to test the new hypothesis, and then maybe that leads you to a different place. And so that you are not stuck by your hypothesis, but you are actually exploring and altering your hypothesis based on your observations.
Absolutely. I think the research should be driven by observations, not by
Exactly.
hypotheses in a way. Absolutely.
Exactly.
Well
Exactly.
said.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, for all the researchers who are facing, or getting the observations which are not supporting your hypothesis, this is the time when you take a detour and connect those dots, because
Sure.
observations are obviously telling you a story. Most of
Mm.
the time, just because we are so fascinated by our hypothesis, that we are stuck with the outcome, which is not how it should be. It is
Sure.
always that when you see something not abnormal, but something is not following your path, it is showing that there is another avenue which you can
Mm.
open. And that's how I think most of the brilliant research comes out of those things. And another point, which Dr. Santosh mentioned, it is about, there is nothing called negative results. It's just like not
Yeah.
following your hypothesis and the things which you thought are prospective outcomes. So
Sure.
always be open for that. And open mindedness is what we have seen that is grown a lot in this current generation,
mm,
and which is a good thing for research. So, based on your
mhm,
experience, you did mention about this changing the hypothesis over time, keep
mhm.
be very, you know, close observant for what is happening, for what is the
Correct.
outcome of your experiments.
Mhm,
Another thing, when it comes about now, the number of retractions from journal,
mm.
like what you will suggest, because sometimes it's about the pressure, because for mostly
Yeah,
for the PhD students, they have to
sure.
publish before submitting their thesis. How
Mm.
they should make this balance?
I think if I'm not wrong, I think that changed now. I think it was more to
Yeah.
do with the bureaucratic decision that PhD students should have a paper
Hmm.
before. I I thought it has changed. I may be wrong. I did not follow the regulation now. But see, publications are your passports. That's definitely there. But you should also have a balance where whether you want to publish something that is there or not. So if so, for example, people are pressured. So it's not that students are not doing research; they are doing research, and it's I think boils back to the same point that whatever the results that they are not matching their hypothesis, they are discarding it instead of exploring them further. So when you discard those results, you end up with having very limited results. Rather than having results of all your experiments, you're having very limited observations which are matching your hypothesis. And then when you do 10 different experiments to understand a hypothesis, three of them match, seven don't. You you shouldn't be going after the three. You should exploring why the seven did not work, and
Hmm.
that's where it gives you a completely new angle to it. So I would say if your hypothesis is not matching, so try to work out what is saying and then try to put it up as a paper rather than putting up a paper and then spoiling your own reputation of the lab, reputation of the institute at the later stage. And it's most of the retractions I feel, Raju, correct me if I'm wrong, most of the retractions are happening because the observations are not reproducible later on,
Hmm. Yeah.
rather than not because the interpretation was incorrect.
Hmm.
So if you see something in an experiment and you are not changing the observation but you are interpreting it differently, that's not wrong. So for example, everyone knows that it's DNA that does the transformation. But earlier, it was observed, it was thought that it's protein that does the transformation, not the DNA. So, but later on with the new experiments, it was corrected that it was now correctly understood that it's DNA that does the transformation. Everyone accepts that. Everyone does transformation in the lab. So it's not that the observation of people made earlier was wrong. It's the interpretation that was incorrect.
Great.
So always go for whatever interpretation you are doing, but stick to your observations. Don't try
Yeah.
to change your observations. So stick to the observations, and whatever it is saying, try to put it up. The story will be read, and story will be accepted in the field.
This is a great way, I think, to put it in the words,
Yeah.
and also this
Mhm.
helps the community as like the researcher community as a whole in a big time, because when
Sure.
somebody is trying to, as you said about the
Mm.
reproducibility, if you
Yeah.
publish something, there are people all around the world. Some of them might be interested in the same work and want to follow the same path. So,
Correct.
whatever time you have invested, or as Dr. Santosh said, because you were so stuck, now you are wasting so much time and resources all around the world just because
Correct.
you publish something and people say it can be reproducible. So if you think it is
Mm.
not reproducible, don't at least try to change the perspective you have about those experiments or the project. Great point.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
also now
Hmm.
we will move, because whenever any incidents like this happens, it
Hmm.
creates an immense amount of pressure to the
Correct.
students, to the PI, to the institutes, everywhere. And we always talk about the failed experiments, the pressure which is always there. Either it is to, publish it in the many, like in a great journals, or it is about submitting the thesis, or it is about the renewal of the grant.
Mm-hmm.
Pressure is always there.
Sure.
Doing these things actually makes it even more problematic.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
now we will talk about how to
Mm-hmm.
handle the pressure in research, your experience, and then what you can suggest.
That's interesting question. So handling pressure, so pressure is always there. And I would say, so as long as, I don't feel too much pressured.
Mhm,
I so the one of the, maybe I can give my own example. So one of the ways I always feel is that whatever you are doing, uh, so as a researcher, you are exploring your ideas. So whatever is a idea you are getting, you can explore it further. I mean, so whatever this observation you are getting, you can explore further. And so the papers and grants will come in the way. So I would always say that if you're on the top of the list, if you're in the cream, you don't have the pressure of being eliminated from the field.
mhm,
So try to work hard and stay on the top. So when you want to stay on the top, have as many experiments you are doing, have as much of the literature that you can read, and get good quality ideas, good quality research out there, rather than trying to balance at a lower stage or at the mediocre stage. I don't know if I'm answering it right, but having read a lot of literature and having understand the field more will make you more comfortable. So I think in a very simplistic way, practice makes man perfect. So
mhm.
not making a gender statement, but yeah.
Absolutely. No, I think that is up to a stronger limit whenever we discuss these topics in these
Hmm.
conversations. That either, quittings, because sometimes and this trend is going up and up, which
Hmm.
again goes case by case basis. The person in those circumstances have the best choices to make, but we have seen that the students are quitting PhD after 3 years, 4 years, or 5 years. In very difficult circumstances, there are suicides which have been committed
Oh,
by
sure.
the PhD students. So,
Yeah.
what you can suggest to the students who are going through that rough patch?
See, I can say that, see, the reason I came into science, as I explained earlier, I came to biochemistry and then followed upon there, thinking that I will develop something which will be useful for others, not essentially for myself, but will be useful. So, if I develop a drug for tuberculosis, for example, it may not be useful only for me, but will be useful for everyone else around. So, as long as you consider yourself as some kind of a Hollywood superhero, so solving the world's problems, so then you will always make up your mind that there are problems and there will be setbacks for you, where you have to go through them so that you help others and you achieve your goals. And small things will always come. I think these days we have more of a counseling agencies and all, so
Mhm.
who can understand and sit with you, help you understand that. But I would always say, whenever you are having a tough time, take a break, think back what is troubling you and what you can do instead of during my PhD days, one of the advantage I had is that my family was very close. So every almost every weekend or the other weekend, I used to visit my family, spend time there. So there you don't have any pressure of your research. And then once you come back, you are refreshed, rejuvenated with new ideas, new things to follow. So always take breaks, take small breaks when you are stressed, have a breather and come back with fresh ideas. So that will help tune your own ideas, your own mindset. It's not that someone is having a bad mindset, but it's always good to have ease the pressure of when you are going through a difficult situation.
Absolutely. I think that's the best way to getting these rejuvenation whenever you feel that
Exactly.
you are at the stage where you are burned out. Acknowledge it,
Exactly.
and then you are helping yourself big time, but also everyone around you. Either it is family, or it is
Mm,
your lab, or your supervisor. Because
correct.
once they see that you are under stress and you are not working very well, it is impacting their lives too. So
Yeah.
for, if not for your own sake, do it for their sake. And you know just have, enjoy your research, because as Dr. Santosh mentioned, that we in no words are less than the, like, we are the real world heroes, superheroes,
Exactly.
as
Exactly.
Dr. Santosh mentioned. And
Sure.
part of that is why we are having these uh, this series named as Researcher Celebrities, because the mission of this is celebrating researchers who have spent time and did all what it takes for humankind, or for making this world a better place. Because there is nothing which can be done without all these researchers putting these number of hours in there
Sure.
all around the globe. They are working all the time. So, and that's why we named this series
Yeah.
as Researcher Celebrity. Every
Sure.
single researcher is a celebrity, and we should
Definitely.
celebrate them.
Definitely. So one recent example I might quote is that the one of the successful vaccines for COVID, the Covaxin, was actually developed in an NCM ICMR lab.
Mhm,
So it's developed by the researchers which solve the problems of more than at least 70, 80 countries.
mhm.
So yeah, I mean, when you think about that, you feel rejuvenated, you feel motivated to work more in the research.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And that's why we always say that the passion should be or in the driver's seat, not the stress. Because if
correct.
stress takes on to the driver's seat, that means you are not going to go long. So always ensure that who's driving you every day to your lab. If it is the passion, then as Dr. Santosh said, stress might come and go. You take those
Yeah,
breaks, get rejuvenated, and then again back on track. Enjoy
sure.
your research for most of the time. So the last
Exactly.
closing words for
Hmm.
this conversation, Dr. Santosh, based on your experience, what you have learned and what you can suggest to the researchers in different stages, either early careers, PhDs, or early faculties.
Mm, I mean, always. I mean, as you put rightly in the words, always enjoy your research. So, and uh, I might say, I'm maybe going a bit deroute on that. So, I might also say that whatever you are getting out of the society, so contribute back to it. So, I might say that I work as a STEM ambassador in the UK. So, it is an activity that I have taken up about 4 years back. So, where I visit schools uh, uh, and interact with students and pupil in the schools and encourage them to take up scientific research and science subjects, for example. So that I helped several students with their questions, with their inspiration towards that. And it's amazing the way they are motivated towards research, because so some of the questions I couldn't even imagine that a 80 years student would ask about scientific research. And and the way they are interested in getting into this, so it keeps me posted that yeah, I need to continue this. So always talk to people, so explain them what you are doing, why it is important, and whatever you are doing, think why it is important. So there's always an aspect why. So even if you don't understand it currently, the funder who gave you funding for that research understands that your research is important,
Mhm.
and it's definitely solving one problem or the other of the world. So keep inspired yourself, keep inspiring, keep the society inspired, and do really
Absolutely.
good work.
And I think that's a great notion where we can just say that we as researchers always work towards giving it back to the society and
Yeah,
making it better. With this,
yeah,
we'll say thank you so much, Dr. Santosh, for taking time out for this conversation and having uh, not only sharing your experience but also guiding and which will keep the other researchers motivated. And where to all the audience will say that if you want to write to Dr. Santosh, you can write to him. If you want Empowering Sense Foundation to put you in touch with our researcher celebrity, we are there
sure.
to help you. Only thing which we want from you is, if research ignites you, if this is what makes you happy, we are there to support you in all the means which we can. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Yes, yes, definitely, definitely. Yeah. Hit me up if you have any ideas or if you have any questions. Yeah. Happy to help.
Thank you so much, Dr. Santosh.
No problem. No problem. Thank you, Raj.